Now then, today we're going to be returning to Schedule 1, a game about selling illegal substances to a less than normal city by expanding a drug empire. But there's a serious problem. There's already way too much chaos on these streets, and it needs someone to come along and clean the city of any crime. And since the police aren't going to do that, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to attempt to beat the game without breaking a single law, so no growing, no dealing, and certainly no form of crime whatsoever. In order to beat this challenge, we're going to have to find other ways to make money and level up, and get as creative as we can, so we can start off our new save and create our character, an absolute clean slate of a man. And guys, I heard you, okay? You can stop leaving comments now. So we're going to grab everything from the RV before we leave, and if you're wondering why we're grabbing the growing equipment if we can't grow weed, you'll see in a second. Like usual, we head to the payphone to chat to Uncle Nick, who's going to try and make us do some less than legal stuff right off the bat. But we're not going to listen. But we can go ahead and collect the money he left for us in the dead drop locations because, to my knowledge, this isn't against the law. For all we know, it could be our birthday, and he just hasn't bothered to send a card. After that, we can go rent our motel room, then head over to the pawn shop to flog all the shit we got from the RV. This isn't breaking the law, but those prices are absolutely criminal. Should have just flogged it on Facebook Marketplace. Anyway, now we need to head to the hardware store to grab some stuff. So I'm just going to use the bin exploit we used in the last video to fast travel there. Heading to the ATM beforehand. No, not to smash it for free cash, but to use it like a normal citizen. And then we can grab the stuff and head back to the motel, where we can continue as normal, ordering a seed from our contacts and cleaning up the streets while we wait. I'm just going to leave this here in case someone comes back for it. Now, before you comment, simply owning a cannabis seed is not illegal. Want more proof? The cops couldn't give less of a shit if we have it in our inventory, so we're in the clear so far. But here is the tricky part. According to UK drug laws, it is illegal to plant a cannabis seed, even without the intent to sell. So we're just going to have to use a little workaround here. Popping off the lid as usual, we can then grab the seed and slowly lower it into the hole, but stopping just before it actually gets planted, which the game deems as acceptable, but this wouldn't actually grow in real life, so I'm calling that a win. And we can whack down our packing station and put it the wrong way around since we're not going to be using the thing. And we can put up a little sign to advertise our business. Perfect. Finally, we can get rid of our trash to finish that objective, but this is where we hit our first roadblock. Harvesting a weed plant is absolutely illegal. There's no way around that, so we can't get past this objective. One thing I did try was getting an employee to trim it for us, but the game only checks when we do it ourselves, so there's no workaround. So here is where we stop. Thanks guys for watching, and catch you in the next one. Nope, just kidding. Even though we literally can't progress any further without using cheats, there are still a couple of sneaky things we can do to take this a lot further. So, first problem. How are we going to make money? Well, let's just go place our trash in this little green box over here. And after one push of a button, just like magic, it prints out money. And you can do this with all the litter on the street. I think we've just found a job for ourselves. The streets around town are absolutely littered with gold, and the police aren't going to do anything about it. So we can just go and buy a trash grabber and get to providing a service that the taxpayer money obviously isn't providing. Right, we've been doing this for a little while, and I made a bit of money to start us off. And to speed it up, I tried to sell the wheelchair that was just lying about, but the pawn shop guy didn't want to hear any of it. Wait, come back. It's time to talk about how we're actually going to level up. So there are a couple of ways to level up without breaking the law in this game. The first one being when you buy your first business and launder some money. But to get to that point, we're going to need a lot more money than we currently have. $10,000 more to be exact. And since I don't fancy cleaning the streets for hours and hours myself, it's time to head to my favourite place on earth, the casino. Oh, it feels good to be back. Previously, I used the slot machines to get stupid amounts of money really quickly. And luckily, the developer still hasn't patched this. I think it's probably because he's too busy fighting a lawsuit or two. So here's Smill's official guide to get rich quick. First step, take out some cash. Second step, increase slot machines to maximum bet. Third step, play all the machines at the same time. And step 4, repeat. This might take a while. Okay, we've been printing money for a little while, and I'd say it's working pretty well. I've been here for just over an hour. I'll quickly run you through what a normal day looks like. Firstly, we wake up at the crack of dawn. Sorry, I shouldn't say crack. That's an illegal item.
Can you not say crack?
Normally, the casino doesn't open until 4, but the manager goes for a smoke break at 1:30 and then goes in at 2. Can you tell I've logged over 40 hours in this game? So after having a little word with her, you alright? We came to an agreement where I can get in 2 hours early, maximising our gambling time. God, I love having an addiction. I mean, we could actually break in by turning our back to the wall and riding the skateboard to open the door from the inside, but you guessed it, that would be illegal. So just before 2 p.m, we do a quick sweep of the city, cleaning up any litter from the floor, play a little bit of basketball, and once the casino opens, we gamble the day's profits until we increase our money tenfold. Going home before 9 p.m. hits because that's when the curfew starts, and we can't be breaking curfew, because that's illegal. On the way home, we make sure to escort any sleeping drunks into the safe boxes, and we even get a little reward for doing so. Nice. And whenever I had some free time between picking up litter, I played some basketball, getting really good at this using different props. And also, because I'm lazy, I hired a couple of employees to outsource the work to. Right, my goon, I have a task for you. Your job is to pick up trash.
So you brought me in this game to pick up trash for you? Oh, cheers, mate. All right, I'm just having a good time picking up loads of rubbish off the floor. This is actually hella boring though, mate. Here we go. I'm out here grafting my ass off picking up rubbish. This is not a fair trade-off. Am I getting a cut of this or like, what's happening? Boss, today we have made $242. Please never ask me to do this again. I'm not picking up rubbish anymore. I quit. I'm done.
Is it time for my break already?
Who said anything about a break?
No breaks? Oh shit, the police. I'm getting a body search? Look at me, helping out the community.
Oh wait, there's a police car right there. Oops.
Don't mind, sir.
No witnesses. No witnesses.
Alright, I'm fucking done, bro. I can't do this anymore. I got an exam tomorrow at 9 a.m, bro. I'm picking up trash here for you. Almost $100, bro. I'm stealing this $20, bro.
No. So before you know it, we racked up over $250,000, which we can now use to max out our deposit limit on the ATM and get a laundering quest, which tells us to go and buy our first business. And since we've got the dough to spare, let's go and buy the car wash. And we can now launder up to $6,000 a day. Who said you had to be naughty to make money? And if you sat there at home calling me out for taking part in illegal laundering, you couldn't be more wrong. Money laundering requires the involvement of property obtained through criminal means. And since we got all our money through gambling, this isn't actually illegal. See it as more of investing into a business. And because we completed the quest, we get 100 XP points, leveling up to Street Rat 2. Now, onto the second way of leveling up. If we go ahead and use the remainder of our cash to buy the bungalow and deck it into a proper living space, I couldn't find a chair, so I use the toilet. With this property, we can hire an employee to complete the quest of hiring a worker. But to get into the warehouse to hire an employee, we have to have unlocked it in the first place, which is a much later game thing. If we try to enter now, the guy just tells us to sod off. Well, not really actually. All it takes is a skateboard and a little bit of creativity. If we bring our skateboard around the back of the building and use the same trick we saw before to break into the casino, we can just let ourselves right in. And since the guys obviously don't seem to mind me being here, I think we're in the clear. Lovely stuff. Here we can buy some interesting items, most of which are illegal. Some weapons, all of which are illegal, except this frying pan actually. You're coming with me. And we can speak to this guy who lets you hire employees. Let's hire a cleaner, probably the only legal option here to be honest. And by giving the employee a bed and a trash can, here, you can start with this. I absolutely love that this just isn't illegal. We can successfully complete another quest and get ourselves 100 more XP. Now, unfortunately, this is where we hit a brick wall. To my knowledge, there are no other ways to level up further without continuing the main quest line, which requires us to break the law. I mean, that's not entirely true. There is one other way to level up in this game. By escaping a police chase, you're granted 20 XP, but there's a glaring problem with this. In order to get arrested, you have to do something illegal in the first place. Well, sort of. What the fuck? Oh my god, what the hell? What the hell? Oh, okay, see you later. Anyway, that's very much illegal. But who's to say the fun has to stop here? There's absolutely nothing stopping us from buying every single business and turning all of our cash into real money we can spend in the game, and then using that to buy every single property. And we're not stopping there. One more trip to the casino, and a few hours later, by a few hours I mean setting up a macro and then leaving my PC, we can get ourselves up to $300,000. Enough to head over to the dealership and buy every single car in the game, and enough to do something a little bit more interesting. So just give me a minute. Okay, I've been building out my properties into businesses off camera, and I think we're ready for the grand reveal. Since I couldn't use them to manufacture illicit substances, I did something else with them. First up is the warehouse. Remember all the cars we bought? Well, I relocated them to my own dealership, Smill's Cars, with each car being appropriately uppriced for a maximum profit. Also, don't worry about that guy over there. We had a few complications along the way. Oh shit. Oh my god. Wait, what? So please get down from there. Next up is the bungalow, which is appropriately repurposed into a convenience store. Using stock from the gas station just down the road, we then sell it at a much higher price. Here we have our cashier and the boss man's office. Up next we have the motel, and since I'm technically renting this room, I decided to max out the landlord's electricity bill by taking the entire power of the sun and localizing it in the room. Don't stand too close though, you might accidentally become omniscient. And we've saved the best for last. We turned the barn into our very own art exhibition. Here at Smill's Art, we have a collection of paintings available for purchase, all bought from the furniture store and uppriced to how I see fit. This one's my favourite. We also have an array of sculptures on display. This one I call Wasted Time, to reflect the production of this video. Here we have Golden Skibbity. The less said about this one, the better. And here we have Human Trash, as a testament to the minimum wage cleaners that we used during the making of this video. And I think that about wraps it up. If you enjoyed this stupid playthrough of the game, leave a comment just saying the word smill, and have a shit day.